Welcome to the People, Purpose, and Profits Business Coaching Podcast. My name is Brian Buck, and my wonderful co-host is...
And I'm Kat.
And we are excited to serve our small to medium-sized businesses, whether you're a solopreneur, consultant, or coach, or you run a team with 5 to 100 people. We're here to give you content that not only is going to be interesting, but they're going to be things you can actually act on. And that action is going to increase your impact and your profits. So we want to talk about, today is about trusting your instincts, trusting your gut, and the power that that actually has in your business and your life. You want to kick us off, Kat?
Yeah, I believe that if we could all have one superpower, it would be listening to our instincts and hearing that loud and clear. We would lead such a different life without fear, without doubt, without all the things that get in the way of our success. And I heard the story once and I found it was so profound. And I constantly tell it on how to listen, or it's a metaphor for how to listen to, your instincts or your intuition. And that is a friend, a lady got invited to a orchestra, and her friend was going to be in the band playing. And when they went, the guest went and sat in the on the chairs and was waiting for the concert to start. But in the meantime, all she could hear is a huge cacophony, a lot of sound, like noises coming from every direction, everybody, playing their instruments, trying to tune it, just a lot of noise. And then you see the conductor coming on the stage, and with their little stake went tap tap tap, and within a couple of seconds everybody was in tune.
Mm.
And it was just such a beautiful concert, and everybody sang, together in unison.
Mm.
And when they went to dinner, the guest asked the girl who was playing in the band, how did you guys, out of that noise, that so much noise that was happening in the room, you couldn't like hear each other over like the magnitude of the sound, how did you hear that little tap tap tap? And she said, because we were all waiting for it and
Mm.
listening for it.
Mm. Mm.
And obviously really truly believe, and this is why I tell the story, that we have a lot of noise in our heads, and our ego and our mind gets to create a chaos. That's why we experience so much fear and anxiety. But if we start becoming tuned to the voice and start getting used to what that voice sounds like, we're so much better at recognizing it.
Now, I love that. And I'll match your story with the story. When I was in healthcare, one of the organizations, we had our security team, and every year they would come and speak to our team about how to be safe, specifically when staff was going to parking to their own parking spots, because there were attacks of people. They could be random people in the neighborhood. Oftentimes it was someone they knew, like an ex or a family member, who would wait till someone gets off of work. And, they would say things like, never have headphones in so you're not hearing what's around you. Don't read your phone. Have that situational awareness. But what he shared, and I don't know the source, but I heard him do this a few times with our team, was there's been studies that when people were attacked going to their car, a very high percentage felt something before it happened. They didn't see anything, but they really felt it. And his message was, listen to that. And I think maybe this would be a good conversation of, when are you paranoid or having anxiety versus really trusting that instinct? Because one of the things I have noticed, the few times that things greatly didn't go my way, was when I went opposite of what my gut was telling me. whether I did it from a safety perspective or my brain tricked me into going, no, this is all right. But I think looking back, and something that I practiced since having that eureka moment is my gut's right. I'm going to trust it and go with it. And each time I take action on that, it develops even more confidence in myself. Man, I give myself good advice. I should probably listen to it. When's the last time you listened to your own advice? We tell ourselves things all the time and then we argue ourselves out of it. But our heart doesn't stop going, hey, you care about this, or this danger's real. But anyways, I'd love your thoughts on how do you know what's paranoia, anxiety versus an instinct?
And well, like I said, I think the more we practice listening to it, then we start knowing that voice. It's just like, when you get a call from someone that you see on the caller ID, you know right away who it is. But
Mm,
if you, for example, don't know who it is, and as soon as they speak, you hear their voice and you recognize who they are. We have to do the same thing with our own voice. And the voice that comes from love, that the voice that comes from creativity is not the same voice that comes from
mm.
fear, from anxiety, from doubt, from criticism, is not the same voice.
I love that. I just recently went through an incredible coaching session, and I'm going to steal kind of what they did and apply to this because eureka moment. And that is, he was talking about if our life was music, what would that beat sound like? And how maybe as a dad, I've got a different song. As a husband, I might have a different song. As a business owner, I've got a different song. And like, because each of those things kind of, and once again, we're not a band that plays one song. We are a band that play that orchestra. If you just always heard Ode to Joy, you're going to quit going. But we have much music in us with different paces. But I love that, like, how do you maybe say, what's the song of fear versus the song of love that knows where maybe the song of your internal compass of
Mhm.
saying that compass is telling you the right way or not. Because that could probably help you differentiate.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think, our audience can definitely tell from their personal experiences. I've yet to meet a person who doesn't have a story about, oh, I felt about going this way, whether in a relationship or a business deal or, a client. We can sense each other's energy. We're not doing it enough. And I honestly really truly believe that if we want to develop a better instinct, we have to start getting quiet. And that means, taking time away from the noise of social media, the news, the toxicity that comes with certain relationships. We have to start getting more accustomed to being in silence with ourselves, because that's when we can create. It's almost like getting rid of a lot of things that we acquire over the years that doesn't belong to us.
Hmm.
Like hoarders, they hold on to things for emotional reasons, but that doesn't really serve them. And their intuition is always clear out stuff. But in order for them to clear out the stuff, they have to face some of their feelings. And I really truly believe that instinct says you have to start today, even if you start small. So maybe ask yourself this question: what is something you can do today to start getting more accustomed with that voice?
And I think everyone just turned off this podcast to be quiet and listen. I'm just kidding. But no, I think it's such a great question that you're right. I mean, that goes right into deep thinking. You can't do deep thinking when you're surrounded by distraction. We have enough distractions when every sound or device is turned off because we've got enough distractions in our head. So I love that question is how do you think deeply and turn off all that and begin to learn that voice and hear the voice of your instinct. So then you don't just hear it, but then you start to take action on it. Well, we just had a weird technical issue. So if you saw a weird jump or heard a weird cut, that's what happened. But we just want to end the show, wrap it up by saying subscribe to our YouTube channel or subscribe to our audio show. Please rate us, like us, give us a review. That would greatly help the show. And then you can connect with Kat and I and listeners on our Facebook group, which is free. And we talk about each of the episodes each week and would love to hear your participation and build that community. We look forward to seeing you soon next week. Bye-bye.
Soon.